Hello, hello. We are live. I am so excited for this Wine About It because we're going to wine about Reiki. So let me know, drop in like the comments, the chat box. Let us know, have you ever had Reiki before? What do you know about it? All that good stuff. So welcome. I am Tiara, aka T, your wine diva. I am a wine consultant and certified life and business coach, and I am soon to be a Reiki practitioner because I am taking Unschool with our guest Jen Kohler. I'll get a little bit more into her a little bit later. But yes, I just love sharing how you can live your best life all while drinking lots of wine. So every Thursday, we bring you a live podcast broadcast on Facebook and YouTube. We drink some wine, and I love to introduce you to some phenomenal experts in their respective fields and educate you on many areas of life so you can, in fact, live your best life. So last week, we spoke with Portia Newton about like sexuality and like getting into your femininity. Oh, it was a good conversation. If you like need to like tap into your getting a little freaky deaky, it's a good conversation now.
I don't have any problem with that.
Oh, I love it. And then next week, we're going to be talking to Angela Kay about tarot cards, which I'm excited about. And then, of course, today I have the beautiful Jen Kohler. She is my friend and my Reiki Master Teacher. And we're going to be talking about Reiki and how it can help you. So this is going to be awesome. So please invite your friends, mention them in the chat box, and share this out because we're going to have a good conversation. So, Jen, please introduce yourself and tell us who you are and what you do.
Well, thank you so much for having me. You know, I love chatting with you and I love being on your show. It makes me so happy. I want to do more. So I am Jen Kohler. I am the creator of Reiki Unschool, which is very exciting to me. I will continue to talk about that, but I am a Reiki Master Teacher. I am a numerologist. I am a self-mastery coach. I am a tarot reader. I teach people how to tap into their intuition, to reclaim their power, to know themselves, and to love themselves. It's like the most important thing that I can think of. So yeah. I do all of that, and I have combined it all into Reiki Unschool, and it is so exciting to me. I feel so excited about it, and I can't wait to tell you all about it.
Yay. Awesome. So, of course, it's Wine About It. So every week we do try a different wine. So this week I have our Joy Bliss, which I opened last night on Wine Wednesday. Every Wednesday, if you don't know, if you're not in my virtual tasting room Facebook group, I drop a Zoom link every week, and we just have like like it's supposed to be an hour, but it always inevitably ends up going over. But we basically. We just hop on Zoom. Everyone drinks wine, and it's like a BYO wine, or sometimes people have beer, whatever. Do what makes you happy. And we just hang out and chit chat. And so I did ask people, I was like, should I drink a white wine or a red wine? And I ended up actually finishing the bottle of white. And so the Bliss is what was left over from last night. It is a red wine blend. It is got like a touch of sweetness to it. So if you like berry blends in your wine, this is like pretty awesome for it. It's got this beautiful label that is like blue, and then the joy is the word joy, which I think is like, it's like such a wintry, like holiday fun festive kind of bottle, but it's like non-denominational, so you can give it to anybody for the holidays, which I love. And yeah, so it was like, it came in my October wine club, and it's super awesome. So I will drop the link to like all the things from my group and like how to get into the wine club and all that good stuff. And then we're going to get to this conversation. So first things first, Jen, what is Reiki?
Well, let's just start right at the beginning. I like that. So Reiki is literally a Japanese word, right? So it's Reiki. Rei means universal, and ki means life force energy. Okay, so universal life force energy is the meaning behind Reiki. And I also believe that it is really just part of source energy, right? So God, universe, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't really matter to me. I think that we are all one. It is part of all that is. It is our oneness. So when we channel Reiki, we are channeling source energy, and that is what it is.
Awesome. So who does like Reiki help? How, like, who does it benefit?
Everyone. Don't you love all my answers? I'm like, it helps everyone, and it's just everything.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So Reiki is really excellent for everyone, for everybody. I'm going to start with more of a scientific way to start, and then we'll kind of move into my sort of my woo space, which is really where I live. But I like it all. Hi, Jackie. I'm so glad you're here. Okay. So Reiki is used in many hospitals. Many nurses and doctors are being trained in Reiki because people are starting to recognize the great benefits of hands-on healing. Reiki is a hands-on healing technique. And so when you think about laying your hands on somebody, I mean, I'm sure you can think of many places that you've heard of this, like in many different religions and many different times of history, people use the laying of hands on people. And we are energy, right? So if you're using your own life force energy, you can literally start to help to heal someone's body with your intention. But when you are channeling Reiki, then you are using life force energy, and it's a little slightly different than using your own energy. So many hospitals are using it, hospices use it. There's really a lot of different places that are seeing the scientific benefit of Reiki, which is really, really cool. And then from a spiritual perspective, Reiki is not a religion. Reiki is totally non-denominational, and it actually has nothing to do with religion. But I think that there's a lot of spirituality within Reiki, and it is really where like my spiritual awakening happened when I received my first attunement 15 years ago. I really had a massive spiritual awakening. So we use it for everything. It can totally help anything that you're doing that is using Western medicine. So let's say, you know, you have the flu or you have a cold or you're working on some immune stuff or like thyroid things or like really extreme. I mean, it can really help people who are cancer patients and people who have diabetes and all sorts of, it can really help with everything. And I think of everything from very physical ailments to very emotional elements. So it really runs across all space and time. Reiki is amazing.
I love it. So how does it actually heal, like on like the physical level, the emotional level, and like the mental level?
Okay, so it's quite ethereal, right? I'm talking about energy healing. It's this very far out, maybe woo sort of an experience, right? And so on a healing level, we can actually see, like if we use like different sorts of photography, like there's all sorts of different photography that you can use using like looking at your aura and your there's Curlon, I think. I can't remember exactly what it's called. But you can like take pictures of people's auras and you can see when someone is doing Reiki that their aura, their light body, their energetic body is changing color. You can see it coming in. And there are people, myself included, that can actually see Reiki being given. Not everyone can see that. I think it's a development and a discernment of energy. Some people are born with it. Some people are just born with that ability to see. Some people just need to develop it. Excuse me, I just had a huge meal. Mine developed quite well after I had my first attunement and after I started doing energy work and body work. I started to be able to see the energy running and like to see people's auras and things like that. But that was something I developed over time. So really Reiki is just, it takes everything to a cellular level. Okay. So when I am channeling Reiki and when I am touching a body, with my hands, or even like channeling, like what we're doing right now. I'm channeling Reiki right now. Um, I'm sending it to you, for lack of a better word, or I'm channeling it to you. It is moving into your body energetically. It's only going to the places where you want it and need it most. And it starts to shift everything on a cellular level. It helps you to remove blockages and emotions that are trapped in the body, or literally it can start to change and dissolve things that are in the body. I mean, it's a little bit difficult to explain.
Right.
It's one of those things that I'm always like, get on my table or get on my screen and I can see you and I can show you.
I love that. So like, I like how you were saying that you could see the energy moving. And so how, like, one, for someone that's like trying to get into like practicing Reiki, how can we trust that that's like truly what we're doing? We're truly channeling in that moment.
So, first of all, one has to be attuned to Reiki. So, someone who is a master teacher would attune you. They would teach you Reiki. They would teach you like the different energetic techniques and all of the things, and then you would become attuned. And this is just sort of a ritual of transference of energy is how I see it. So, as a master teacher, I would perform a ritual with you, and I will, and
Yay!
we would attune you to the frequency of Reiki. Okay. And Reiki is its own consciousness. Reiki is an intelligent consciousness that is ever evolving and ever expanding. And in the time that I have been practicing Reiki, which is over the past 15 years, it's really something that I have seen evolve within myself. I've seen it evolve within my students, and I think that we're all speeding up, and time is really feels like it's moving more quickly. We're having a massive awakening currently. Like
Yes.
our society as a world, we are waking up to who we really are and how energy moves. And I mean, it's really just an amazing time to be alive, truly.
Yes, yes, it is. So,
Mm-hmm.
you spoke about like you do all sorts of different things
I
in
do.
addition to Reiki. So, how
Mm-hmm.
does Reiki, like you have your community, the co-op, and you do the daily pulse, which is based on numerology. So,
Mm-hmm.
how does Reiki and numerology kind of tie together?
I believe that because numerology is mathematics,
Mhm.
numerology is the quantum field. Everything is energy. Everything is math. And so numerology and Reiki go beautifully together
Mhm.
because because they do.
Because
So I'll just give a little, okay, so I'll just give a little story. So I've been a numerologist for a few years now,
Mhm.
and I've been doing Reiki for a very long time. And I have frequently, throughout the time before I even became a numerologist, I started seeing numbers. And numbers are a sign of a pattern that you're starting to wake up. It's a signal and a sign from the universe that is trying to talk to you, it's trying to communicate with you. It's one of the ways that the universe communicates with us, right? It's actually a very main way. It's a very direct way that the universe communicates with us is through numbers, right? So I started by seeing the number 444 all the time, like pretty frequently. And
Mhm.
I was a massage therapist, and I knew that there was some importance there. And I started like looking up angel numbers and that kind of thing. And it's like 444 means like your angels or your guides are like with you and watching over you, right? And I was like, oh my God, like every day at 444, like I look at the clock and I see it and I'm like, oh my gosh, there it is. Or it was 333, right? Ascended Master. So I started kind of looking into numbers in that way.
Mhm.
And this was always while I was doing Reiki. So like I'm doing sessions, I'm doing massage, I'm doing body work, I'm doing Reiki, I'm seeing numbers. It's all this interconnected, woven, universal experience. Like as I was waking up to energy, I started waking up to more and more signs from the universe. Started reading Oracle and Tarot and really starting to trust and tap in to who I really was. And then I like started learning numerology and really understanding what the numbers meant. But when I got on this call, I lived in a house for 16 years,
Mhm.
707. And then about a year ago, I started obsessively seeing the number 707 on the clock in the morning, at night. I just saw it just now, like right when it was 7:07. When you asked me a question, it was like 7:07, and I was like, of course. And last night I talked to my mentor about that number because I was like, I don't get it. Like, tell me, what does it mean,
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, it breaks down to 5. And she's like, no, that's not what I'm seeing here. And so what she saw is that when there's a 7 and then a 0 and then a 7, 7 is a highly spiritual number, and it's really it's a trust, it's faith, it's a connection number to the other side, right? And then the 0 is the void, and so she sees me as having this connection to the void, right? Like I'm a connector from this plane to the void to the other side.
Ooh.
And I was like, is that what they've been trying to tell me for the past like 16 years? And she's like, yeah.
That's amazing.
Totally. And then 2020, the year that we're in right now, 0, 2, 0, 2, 0. We've got 2. We've got a void. And it's really about connection and coming together, all of us with the other side and here, and understanding that we are all one. Isn't that amazing? Like instead of really division, it's really us trying to come together. That is what the 2020 really wants for us, is for us to come together. Isn't that fascinating?
That's fascinating.
I think it's amazing.
I think that's so amazing. I love it. So you were saying you've done massage as well. So I feel like Reiki and massage and like chiropractor, I don't even know what the practice.
Chiropractic.
Practicing? Okay.
Chiropractor. A chiropractor is giving chiropractic adjustments.
There it is. And, like acupuncture, all of that would tie really well into Reiki. So
yes.
You were saying earlier that like a lot of people are attuning, in like mainstream, which I think is so amazing that it's becoming more and more mainstream. We're like raising the consciousness of the world, which is super awesome. Like for me, like I've heard of Reiki for the last, I don't know, like somewhere like, for like the last 3 years, but I had no understanding of what it was. I think the statement that resonated the most with me when I first asked someone, well, what is this Reiki that people keep talking about, was that it was like laying hands if you went to church. And I was like, oh, that makes sense to me. That resonates. That works.
Totally. And I didn't grow up like that, but I see it. Yes.
Yes.
It's just energy work. We're all just energy, right?
We are. So speaking of energy, so in our last session, we talked about like my chakras and which chakras were blocked and need a little extra love. And so what are chakras?
For a very simple, quick moment here, chakras are spinning wheels in the body. So they're energy centers in the body. We have hundreds of chakras in the body. Really? Yes, above and below and all throughout the body, there are many chakras. But we usually generally in our society, we talk about 7 main chakras. If you're in Reiki, we talk about the palm chakras and the palms, and then the bottom of your feet as well. There are many that I would work with, but the 7 main chakras are the ones that we talk about. We talk about the root, the sacral, the solar plexus, the heart, the throat, the third eye, and the crown. And they are Sanskrit. So they come from Sanskrit. They come from Tibetan, Hindu, India, right? But many different cultures across the board use this terminology and this understanding of the body, that we have these energy centers. They're spinning wheels of light. Okay. So if they're not spinning in the same direction, you might feel off. If they're blocked, you're going to feel off. If they feel gray and muddy or dirty, they're going to feel off, right? So when you're stuck in a chakra, you are going to be stuck everywhere. If you don't have clear energy flowing through you, then you're not going to feel clear through the body, right? The channel won't be open. And
Right.
so what we do with Reiki is we open the channel. And when you become attuned to Reiki, you really open your channel. But when you receive Reiki, you open the channel and you clear out the chakras, and like life happens. So we continue to live our lives, and we continue to have issues sometimes and have triggers and all of the
Mm-hmm.
things, right? And unless you're really doing the healing work on a really regular basis, that's just going to kind of gunk up again, and you're going to need a clearing again. And when you really do the healing work and you really move through, then you need less and less healing work, and you need more and more amplification, or more and more expansion, is how I see it. So we do the healing work, and then we expand. We amplify.
I love that. I love that. So how can we know if our chakras are out of balance or need clearing?
To me, it feels really obvious, because you're going to be like, boy, I have a lot of money trouble, or boy, I'm really having a hard time loving people, or it's hard for me to receive love, or I'm feeling this way or that. So you're going to have lots of different medical disease in the body. If you have disease in the body, then a chakra is affected. So let's just play with like the throat. Okay. So if you have like an enlarged thyroid, or you have like a thyroid issue, you would have a throat chakra issue. And it could be that you've had a throat chakra issue for so long that it manifested as a thyroid issue. Or you could have, headaches on a regular basis. And a headache on a regular basis would indicate to me that you need to do some grounding work, that you have an issue in your root chakra, and that we would need to bring you down out of the head and into the body. And we would want to open up your root chakra, clear out that root, and establish safety in the body. And you can see that like these things could be really old. These are things that have been living in the body for years and long periods of time. The root chakra is safety and security. That usually goes back to like childhood stuff.
Okay.
Money, safety, your basic needs being met or not being met. Doesn't mean you had a bad life. Like I didn't have a bad life. I had a great life, but I still have root chakra issues.
Right. Right. We all have something back there that wasn't like necessarily the best thing.
Right. Totally. And it's no fault of anyone. It's just how like life is. Like we are conditioned to certain things, and yeah, exactly. And there's illusion in the world, and we're not living in the one. We're here on Earth living in physical reality.
Yes. Yes. So an understanding of like the chakra and energy and Reiki. So what if about like say we have an injury, right? Like so I played rugby for friends who don't know. I played rugby all through college, and I tore my ACL, my meniscus, and my MCL all in the same knee, all same injury. So for how would Reiki kind of help with something like that?
Well, I love that question. I have a client right now who's moving through that exact thing. She had to have surgery.
Yeah.
Right? She had a physical injury. It was causing her horrible pain. We did physical therapy. I did massage therapy with her. We did energy work with her, and it helped. And she needed to have surgery. And so I said, I think it's time for you to have surgery. You need to go talk to a surgeon. And so she went, and she had, the MRI and all of those things. And before her surgery, I did Reiki on her like 3 times so that she could be in a good space to receive her surgery. And then as soon as she was done, I started giving her Reiki again. And we did Reiki and massage she did both knees. And she's had great results. She's healed really quickly because I believe that she used all of those modalities to her benefit, right? It's like Western medicine is not bad. Western medicine is wonderful, and it serves many purposes for us in our world. And then there's this beautiful other, energetic, maybe you call it Eastern medicine or alternative medicine. And those things, when we blend them together, are truly holistic, I believe. And I think that is the key to having great healthcare, is actually having this beautiful, amazing Western medicine that blends really beautifully with all of these alternative methods that really are actually thousands and thousands of years old.
I love that. I love that. And I mean, the energy work is so important around it. Like I know for me, I mean, still I'm probably what 2, 3 what year? Yeah, I'm like 4 years out. Oh my goodness. And I still have
Wow.
issues of like thinking about how my knee is going to be affected if I do this particular activity. Like, is it going to be
Oh,
like
yeah.
I haven't had pain, knock on wood, in a long time in my knees, but I still have this like this energy work to work on like releasing the fear
Yeah.
that it could re-injure itself
So
or
let's play with that for a second. Are you willing?
I am so willing.
Okay, this is what I would do. Okay, so you're talking about all of those things, and I'm gonna say, oh, because I'm already like, ooh, let's talk, let's do this.
Yes, let's do
So
this.
your knees, number one, root chakra, because the leg, right? Anything in that really in the leg or like the lower pelvis is all root chakra. Okay, so safety, security, foundation,
Mm-hmm.
all fear, anxiety, worry, those all live right there, right? So
Right.
if you were to come and like be a first time client, or even if you weren't, you were my client right now, I would be like, oh, now this is really interesting, Tara, because I want to talk about your knees now. I want to talk about your root chakra. I want to talk about how we're going to remove that fear so you don't continue to listen to this language and walk around with
Mm-hmm.
fear.
Yes.
Doesn't that just like resonate so deeply for you?
Yes, it
And then
does.
also, your knees are all about moving forward. So when you
Mhm.
have knee pain or knee issues or even like an injury, it could just be like there's always this very physical level. And I always say this to clients, okay, well, that's physical. Yeah, it could be physical. Or food for thought, it could be energetic. And
Mhm.
so, is it that you're afraid of moving forward? Is it that you're afraid of X, Y, and Z? I mean, who knows, right? Food for thought. It doesn't have to be the answer, but it could be. And so it could get your client thinking a little bit more deeply about what is actually rooted there. What is
Mm.
really actually going on? Even if it was a physical injury that happened with rugby, what is the universe talking to you about? What is the universe saying to you? Are you afraid to move forward? Does it feel a little scary? Does it feel a little fearful to walk through the world like that? Just food for thought. And then we could work through it. So then during sessions, we would work on that core root issue of what does that fear look like for you? How does it feel to you in your body? And how can we move through it so you can live life in a way that doesn't feel bad for you? And that is like why I love doing this work, because
Oh.
it like makes me so excited.
That's really good. That's juicy. Like it had me thinking like, okay, when the injury actually happened, it was
Right.
my like spring semester junior year of college. So I was starting to think about like, where am I going after college? I don't want to leave. This is like my safe space. Like it's like that happy
Oh,
place of like, I have financial security because my parents were still taking care of me. I was blessed enough that they were covering my college and all of that. And I had great friends. I was like going out partying. It was just like that happy space. And I felt secure. And I was like, it's about to be ripped under me in like a year. And I don't know what to do. I don't know how
and
to
then
adult.
look what happened.
And look what happened. So there it is.
Amazing, right? And like you can look at it without having to blame yourself, but just recognizing that we're fucking human. Like
Yes.
here we
Yes.
are. We're human, and like sometimes life feels hard.
That it does.
I
so
loved that.
so true. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Where am I at? Out in my questions? See, this is why I like to type up questions ahead of time so I can like make sure that I get like all the good stuff. So for anyone looking to receive Reiki, how should they go about finding the right practitioner for them?
Such a good question, because there are so many Reiki practitioners out there, and God love them. I don't know how they've all been trained. Many of them, I'm not sure.
Mhm.
But you want to find someone who's reputable. And it doesn't even have to be Reiki. I love Reiki. And also, so any kind of like quantum energy work is all Reiki. It's all Reiki is quantum, quantum is Reiki. So any energy practitioner who feels really solid to you, I would interview them.
Okay.
I would not be afraid to ask about like what their credentials are.
Mhm.
So I personally feel that for a Reiki practitioner, it feels really important to have a physical teacher who's been doing it for some time. Typically, a Reiki master teacher has been practicing for a long time. Like, we're masterful. We've become masterful at what we do. So someone who is a master has been through, I mean, in my world, I didn't become a teacher, master teacher for 5 years. And so I like sat with my attunements for long periods of time. Now, I was talking about earlier how I feel like things have changed so much.
Mhm.
And I think that we can actually do it more quickly now. People are becoming more masterful more quickly. And so my program teaches master teacher in 1 year, but you walk with me the whole time. It's very immersive. I am by your side that entire time, teaching you everything that I know, that I have been learning for 20 years or longer, because I'm certainly not 20. Um,
I love it.
but I would look for someone who is Usui certified, or Holy Fire certified for Reiki. Karuna is another name that is familiar to me. I'm Usui. It's very traditional.
Mhm.
Um, but it's there's a lineage there, and there's this whole like lineage, which I have many thoughts about. But it is a good way to find a practitioner who's been practicing for some time and who has a lot of like training. So I
Okay.
would look for someone who has been trained and who you feel really good with. I would look for someone who feels like really trust yourself and ask questions. Like,
Mhm.
if they've been practicing for like 2 weeks, they might, not be charging as much as like I would.
Fair
So,
enough.
and also, if you're asking me, you should come to the co-op
Yes.
and you should find one of my students who are all trained beautifully and have do buddy work and partner work and are all practicing, and they practice on me and I see what they're doing and I walk with them on an ongoing basis. So in the co-op, you can find lots of different amazing practitioners. Just come on in and see what's up there.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So you said that you do usui. Can you explain a
Mhm.
little? Can you explain a little
So,
bit about that?
so Usui is someone who started modern day, what we know as modern day Reiki, and
Mhm.
he is Mikao Usui is Japanese. He went. He historically he went up to the mountain. He sat in a cave and received an attunement from God, and sat in the cave for 21 days, and then came down and started doing hands-on healing. Now, I believe that Reiki has been around for thousands of years and that people
Mhm.
have been doing this work for much longer than Usui. But Usui really brought the practice to Japan, and he created Reiki. He created a name for it, and he received all of these symbols
Mm.
um, and then he created a program and a theory behind it and taught it to people. And so it's considered Usui lineage if you are trained in Usui Reiki. So it's like an Usui Tibetan style Reiki that I am trained in.
Okay.
And so that is his lineage, and it doesn't go back as far as we might think it does, but I can't even, I don't remember the years, but that's not part of like my brain pattern. But then it was brought to the US. The Usui Reiki was brought to the US
Mm.
ultimately via Hawaii, and it started to
Ooh,
become more and more popular, and it was very expensive. One class would cost like $10,000 in like the 60s.
bananas.
Right. And so they tried to make it very secretive and exclusive. And then as it became more popular, the price came down and it became more accessible for everyone.
Very cool. Very
Yeah.
cool. So you say the word quantum a lot. Can you explain what that means?
Well, we have the quantum field. Right. So it's really referring, I mean, that's like a big question. It's really referring to um, the cosmos, to
Mm.
the other side, to um, everything is energetic. Everything is energetic. And so when we meditate, we go to the quantum. It's like what's in your mind? Like, can you go out, right? Like when you meditate, how far can you go? It's consciousness.
Mm.
It's coming back to the one. Like when you sleep, I believe we plug back into the quantum and we go and play in the quantum field. It's a little bit of playtime. It's the expansiveness of consciousness.
Ooh, I like that. I love that. That sounds really good. So can you explain what your Reiki Unschool is?
Yes, thank you. So, along with all of the other things that I teach, I am a universal laws coach.
Mm.
And so I use emotional mastery. I use the universal laws in everything that I teach. So Reiki Unschool includes 12 different universal laws that we move through over the course of the year. It is a 10-month program that will encompass a full year because we'll have integration periods. You learn Reiki 1, Reiki 2, Reiki Master, which is ART, Advanced Reiki Techniques. And then you learn Master Teacher. You learn all of the symbology that goes along with all of that. So that in itself is a business that you have. As soon as you're done, you have a full business where you can actually teach Reiki, which I think is brilliant. You will learn many universal laws and learn to embody them and to understand how they work in the body and in the quantum. You will learn about your chakras. So there is a chakra course included in the year long because that is everything in Reiki. You learn my body insight methodology. So my body insight methodology is what I have created over the last 15 years, including all of the body work that I learned. So when you learn body work, you really start to understand how emotions get stuck in the body and how they embed and manifest as disease. So my body insight methodology is part of what I will teach all of my students. What else? There's so much. It's really a brilliant program, I believe, to really learn how to tap into who you really are, tap into your intuition, to really take time to shed the limiting thoughts and beliefs and patterns that you've been walking around this world with, and to self-actualize. So you also, we will be doing the Master the Brain game in that program. That is a program that I learned to teach during my Universal Laws program, so with Joy Kingsborough. And I mean, it's just a really brilliant program. It's emotional mastery, vibrational mastery, frequency mastery. You will learn what all of those things mean. You'll hear all of this terminology that people use, and I'm going to teach it to you. It's really... It's what I do. It's so beautiful.
It's juicy. I love it. It's so all encompassing. I love that.
Yes, that was my goal. Oh, and tarot. You get the Heal membership as well. So you get to learn how to read Oracle and Tarot as well and practice on a regular basis with a gorgeous group of humans. And that actually includes its very own mastermind and many workshops and things like that. So there's a lot of juicy benefits to this course. It's really sweet.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to be taking it. I'm super excited for it. And I know you also have a challenge coming up. Can you talk about that?
Oh, yeah. So next week, so starting this weekend, really, we're going to start the decluttering aspect. Oh, gave some stuff away. We start the decluttering aspect this weekend. We have, I think, like 40 some people already in the challenge. Please come into it. I called it a challenge. It's not a challenge. It's an easeful experience. It's going to be 5 days of Reiki activation. So I'm going to use my body insight methodology. You're going to receive 5 days of body insight activation, Reiki activation. And I'm going to teach you, I think there's 7 tips that I'm going to bring in. of my favorite ways to manage your energy. And I think that this is like the most brilliant time to be doing it as we walk through a pandemic and and into the holidays. So we have holidays coming, and I think it's going to be really interesting this year, depending on how things go.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that if you can have some really great, easy, energetic tools, that you're going to feel a lot more peaceful. My goal is peace. My core desired feeling is peace. These are the tools that I use every day to create peace in my environment and in my home and in my personal environment, my personal space. And I, P.S., live with a man and 7-year-old. So,
you need some peace.
So I got it going on.
And I mean, I think
I know how to create that.
For the holidays, like in any given year, I think when you talk to different people, it is definitely a time that, like, as much as we love one another and as fun as the holidays can be, it can also be super stressful for some people. And, you know, it can be triggering for some people. That particular, I feel like almost everybody has some person that they, in their family, that they're like, woo, I love you, but I don't need to spend more than like 3 hours with you at a given time.
Or less.
Or less.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Agreed. So having energetic tools is really freaking helpful, people.
Yes, it is.
I will help you to project peace and not give a shit about the annoying things that your family are doing.
Yes. Yes. I love it. I love it. So how can our audience get in contact with you and find out all about like Reiki Unschool and how to join in on this playful challenge you got going on?
Thank you. I appreciate that. So we're going to post all of the links. My VA was working all of those things out for me because I was like, oh, I need to find them, and thanks. But we will post links to the experience, to the challenge experience. And I really hope that everyone joins that because it's going to be great. And then we'll post a link for the membership. Yes.
Yes. All of the things.
Yeah, I mean, and then people can find me. I'm really accessible. I'm Jen Kohler. I'm on Facebook. I'm public. You can come find me on my page, and you can find me in the co-op. You can find me in my Heal membership. I'm all over in all the places.
So good. Feels so good. Is there anything else that you would like to leave us with before we hop off today?
Yes. Get into alignment with yourself, and everything else will follow. Or fall away.
Oh my gosh. Which is totally my tarot cards today.
Right? Did you get a little tower in there?
I was like, oh, would you look at that? If I come into alignment, the tower is here, everything will fall away.
I mean, it's just,
boom.
You know, spirit speaks loudly.
It does. It does.
Thank you
so much for joining us this evening. If you guys have any questions, please drop them in the chat box, leave them in the comments, where we'll be back circling around. And of course, join us next week for another Wine About It and learn a little bit more about tarot.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tiara.